What up?
Ah,
Dude.
good morning,
So,
my friend. How are you,
my
sir?
man, dude, you are 2 hours before me, 9 o'clock in the morning, 16 inches of snow out in you're not technically in Denver, right? You're in
No, Castle
Inglewood?
Rock. Castle Rock. So
Castle
about
Rock.
40 minutes south of Denver. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I got 16 inches of snow on the ground now and forecasting another 16 inches right now. So
Jesus,
working
dude.
from the home office today, staying nice and warm and snugged.
Are operations kind of at a hold because of all the snow, or how are the streets, or what's going on? Like,
So
what's the lab up to?
yeah, so actually the Pro Repair Lab gets there about 6 in the morning. So I actually just sent them a text before I hopped on here telling them, hey, if it gets too bad, safety first, go home. It's
That's nice of you.
yeah. So they're the only ones
Let's
there. We actually, I think there's no one else at the office right now, so we're basically shut down for the day. Um,
how are the streets?
so right now they're actually not too bad. It got pretty warm last night, and the plows were getting to work. But yesterday morning, it took me. It's usually like a 35, 40 minute drive to the office. Took about an hour and 15, hour and a half yesterday to get in.
Jesus, dude.
Slid through a
That
red light.
sucks.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
slipped through a red light, really?
Oh yeah, this car slammed on the brakes in front of me and almost caused quite the pileup. So, yeah, but
What are
otherwise,
you what are you driving your Tesla still?
yeah. So I was driving the Tesla yesterday, man. We'll have to talk about it. I started doing Turo, so I've got like 6 cars now, and
Oh,
I
get
just
out of here. Really?
yeah,
You've been building up a fleet?
exactly. Yeah, I've got 3 cars out right now. Um, and then just drive whatever's available. Right now, the Tesla is the one that's in the garage. It's the only car I've got at home right now. Actually, I got two
But that's
cars
the
in
best
the
car to
shop.
drive in the snow, right?
You'd be surprised. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. But I've got a Chevy Cruze that weighs nothing. It's got thin, brand new snow tires. That thing is a tank. It is absolutely insane. So
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably better right now. But if I put some snow tires on the Tesla, it'll absolutely be better.
Right, right. How do you like a Tesla? How do you like a Tesla?
So good time to ask. It's actually been officially 1 year since I bought it. Um, I've got about 20,000 miles on it now, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm a car guy to my core. So
Right. I remember that.
without
Yeah.
without the engine, without the manual transmission, without the the vroom vroom noises, you miss out on all of that. But I will say I'm impressed. It is very nice. The self driving makes my commute a lot easier, um, and it doesn't cost. I was paying like 700 a month in gas with I had a V8 Jeep before that that I was commuting with. So definitely a
Yeah, that
lot
thing's a freaking tank.
easier.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right. How much you pay? What's your electric bills like when it
Dude, I
comes
think
to?
it's gone up. I have it set to charge only overnight during like off peak hours. So, man, I want to say it's like 50 to 100 extra a month that it's ended up costing me, which is not bad. Um,
That's another. Hey, better than 700.
yeah, pretty much like that alone, just in the gas, pretty much pays for the car. So it's absolutely worth it financially. That was the main reason I did it. And I will say it's nice, man. It's definitely a nice car. I've done a couple things like put some subs in it and a radar detector and 5% tint everywhere. So I've made it mine, and
That's so much
it's
fun.
it's sweet. Yeah, I
Is it
can't
is it, is a radar detector legal in Colorado?
It is, yeah. You can't do a blocker, blocking the cop signals to you, but you can detect that they are trying to get a lock on your speed. So totally legal, totally fine. Pretty much just you're hoping that they get someone else's speed before they get yours, and you have enough time to slow down. But
Yeah, of course.
I'll tell you what, I haven't had a single speeding ticket in my life, so
Wow, knock on wood,
I
dude.
don't
Knock
have
on
one
wood.
around me. But man, I'll tell you what. I've gotten pulled over for some crazy ones. There was one time in my Corvette I was going 145 and a 65 and got pulled over for that. Uh,
Really?
yeah, verbal warning, let me go. It was pretty sweet.
What'd you do to get off? Because that
Uh,
you go to
so
you they could put you in jail for that, right? They
oh,
could suspend your
easily, yeah,
license.
and he should have. It was the funny part is it was actually a state trooper too. He was a younger guy about my age, and I had just gotten the Corvette. And he noticed that I was just like all giddy, and I told him like, "Hey man, I just got like one of my dream cars. This thing is literally it handles like it's on train tracks." And I was being safe. I just didn't notice how fast I actually ended up going, and yeah, he ended up he must have got another call or something because he just gave me a verbal and said, "Be safe, have a good night," and that was
That's
it.
so, dude, that's crazy. You're so lucky.
Very
You
lucky.
didn't get a speeding ticket?
Nothing, nothing. He just said, "Be safe." So I've
Did you,
definitely
you
gotten
you got
away.
rid of that Corvette, right?
I did. Yeah, I only had that for a couple months. It started having a problem. It was the six-speed manual, and I started getting problems going into reverse. And I took it to my buddy who works at the Chevy dealership. Turned out it wasn't an easy fix. It was actually a full rebuild that was going to be needed. So I was like, you know what? Just going to dump it instead of dumping money into it. And actually, I like flipping cars. So if I can make money on something, I will sell it before I start putting money into it. So
Right. And
yeah, I think
you know what to look for and what makes a car a good deal or not. Like you don't have to go to a dealership and get ripped off, right?
no, no, I usually don't. I think I'm up to 60 cars that I've bought and sold at this point in my life.
That's
Which
crazy. When did you start?
uh, when I was 16, I bought my first, or 15, I bought my first car cash. Didn't really start buying more until I was probably 18, 17, 18. But I'm 28 now, so I've definitely averaged,
So you've been doing this for almost 15 years, dude.
yeah, 10, 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I can't. When I was 15, I know how to tie my own shoelaces, dude. Forget about buying a car and knowing what to do, dude. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I've always been into the cars. That's been my hobby since day one. So, yeah, definitely a fan. They're fun, man.
Definitely, definitely. So you like your Tesla. You think it does a good job, but you do like to have an option for a car that feels like a car. That feels more like a car, you know?
Yeah, more engaging. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Definitely like the more
Do you
spirited
find
driving experience.
do you find with your Tesla, I noticed this, I almost bought one and I took it for a test drive. And one of the things that I noticed that I didn't really love was that it was quick to accelerate. The second you took your foot off the accelerator or gas, whatever, the
Yep.
car would just kind of lurch to a stop. You know,
The
it's
regen
pretty
braking.
aggressive, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to get used to at first. I will say you get used to it. You pretty much always have to have your foot on the pedal, or you just end up using the cruise all the time, um, which is pretty much where I've gotten at this point. You just accelerate and then you just set the cruise. Because yeah, it is annoying. You always have to have your foot on there. Like if you're driving a long way, like you'll actually get like leg cramps from having to press the entire time to just
Yeah, sure.
maintain speed. So yeah, yeah, I just put it on cruise now. Otherwise, I mean, it brakes and speeds up for me automatically. So it's a great commuter. I will say that it is an absolute perfect commuter. But if I'm like going for like a mountain drive or something like that, that is not the car I'm going to take.
Would you get a Cybertruck?
I can't say I would.
Two,
I feel like
I know they're a fortune. Imagine if it was within reasonable price, right?
if
But
that's a
like, would
tough
you get a
one.
Cybertruck over a a Ford or a GMC or something like that?
No. No, because the reason I'm getting the truck is to use it as a truck, and the Cybertruck. The second because like I've got my boat that I'll tow. If I start towing or putting a load in there, the range just drops by like half. Um,
Does it?
yeah, on the Cybertruck, it's any electric truck like the F-150 Lightning or the EV Silverado, any of them. The second you put a trailer behind it, it just drops range dramatically. So if I'm getting a truck, I'm using it as a truck, and the Cybertruck's just not there yet. Is it cool? If I had the extra, screw it money, absolutely.
Yeah, dude, it's a statement. It's a statement car. It's so much fun,
Mm-hmm.
and they're so cool. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I see a good amount of them in South Florida,
Oh, I'm sure.
but in New York, I did not see a ton of them over the summer, and I didn't see a ton of them in Orlando. Do you see them all over the streets in Colorado or not really?
They're pretty popular around here, especially so like between where I live and where my work office is. There's a very, very wealthy neighborhood, like a big wealthy neighborhood in between. So driving through there, I see at least one or two a day. Um,
Nice.
they're they're starting to get wrapped. Everyone's got their own wrap now because they only come in one
Mm-hmm.
color, right? So my buddy owns a good wrap shop here in Colorado, Advanced Industries. Very, very good wraps on all their trucks and cars and everything. And he's the one that tints my windows, everything. Um, so he's got some really cool
Did you
ones that he
become
puts.
friends with him before you opened the shop? You became friends with him because you opened the shop.
I met. God, it's actually kind of an interesting story. Not gonna get too into it, but this we had a mutual friend, and
Okay.
I had my car in for some tint, and he posted some funny stickers that I had on my car, and my friend was like, "Hey, you know Cam?"
It's
I'm
so
like,
funny.
"Oh, yeah, that's him. All right." So
It's so funny. I
yeah,
love that, dude. That's
small
great.
world.
That's great. So then Turo. So Turo's the app. I only heard of it. I only feel like people go like that go on like expensive vacations use Turo is what like my association is. Like all my friends that go on honeymoons or, like they're going like Hawaii or something like that. They're like, okay, we're renting we're gonna get like a fun sports car on Turo. But
Yeah.
I it, so it's Airbnb for cars, right?
Pretty much, it's an Airbnb or a VRBO for cars. Um, yeah, I'd say it depends. So there's different fleets that you can set up. So everyone has their different approach to it. My approach started with, hey, I already had three cars just because I'm kind of a nutcase, and I was like, most of them are just sitting there. So I had my Jeep that I can tow my boat with. That never got driven. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna throw that up there. Um,
Wait, is that the same one you had a couple of years back, or is this a new one?
No, I sold that one. I got another, and then I sold another
When
one,
did
and now I've got my
when
current
I
one.
saw you over I think around April time, right? This past year.
Yep,
Um, you were in a Tesla. You were not in the Jeep.
yep. I was in the
Okay,
Tesla at that time. Yeah,
gotcha, gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha. Okay,
um,
so this Jeep you don't drive for whatever reason, and so you decided to rent it out.
yeah. I just throw that up, and then might as well say, hey, I'll throw my other car on the Tesla, just because if that gets rented out, I'll just drive the Jeep. And they got rented out basically immediately, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get some more cars. So I bought a Chevy Cruze cash, just got that one on the fleet. That was God, I got it for like 4 grand, 2017, and that one's been booked out pretty much nonstop. That's been probably
Did
my
you have to do work
best
on it?
one. Nothing. Yeah, no, it's
So you bought it for 4 grand. You saw that it was a good car, that it was fine, and and you rent it out per day, per week. How does that work?
it depends on the renter. I don't do like a rental minimum. Now I've got it set at like a 2 day minimum, but just because it's like $40 a day and they take 15%. So if it's just not worth cleaning it and taking all the pictures and setting your like changing your schedule just for like $30. It's just not worth it to me. So as long as I get like
Right.
$50 minimum, it's worth it. So usually on that one, it's like 4 to 6 days that people are going out on it. It's gone right now. It comes back Monday morning. It goes back out Monday afternoon. Like it's
Get
just
out of here. And so you
nonstop.
clean it in between, and you'll have to take care of it.
Yeah, honestly, I asked my renters if they can to run it through the wash and vacuum it. So when I get it, you like 90% of the time, the car is already cleaned up. I just got to wipe down a couple of last things and take pictures of the mileage and the gas or the charge and go from there. Yeah, it's I've been really lucky so far. There's some horror stories, and I'm waiting to get one. But
I was gonna say, what are the potential downsides? Because it sounds almost too good to be true. What are the costs associated with Turo, and what's the downsides that happen?
so the only cost is they take between what 40 and 15 or 40 and 10%, depending on what you want like your insurance deductible to be. So that's
Okay,
the only real cost. Obviously, the
but they
price of the
provide their own
car,
insurance.
maintenance. Yeah, yeah. You still have to have your
So,
own insurance on the car for like when it's not
hmm
on a rental, but yeah,
okay, got it. So Turo itself has their own insurance policy, and they charge you 15%, presumably for, I guess, a portion of that goes to insurance, and then they make some money as being the broker.
absolutely.
Um,
Well, and then
right.
they charge a fee too on top of it that I don't see at all. Turo's making money.
You don't see the fee.
No,
Oh,
so
they
like they
charge a fee
charge
to
the
the
renter.
customer.
Yep, yep, yep.
I see, I see, I see.
They're making
Okay,
some
and then
freaking money on it. That's for sure.
good for them, though. I mean, it's a great idea. You
Yeah.
know why? Because the rental car companies are really screw you, man. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
think one thing that that I've always gotten screwed on is that is the Easy Pass thing, right? Like, so for example, in South Florida, there's almost no Easy Passes. There's that I need except to get to the Miami International Airport, which I almost never go to. It's like 40 minutes away, and there's the Fort Lauderdale Airport 10 minutes away from me, which is much closer, and there's no tolls. So and then if I'm going up to Orlando or something like that, that's the only other tolls that there are in the area. So if I'm
Yeah.
picking up a rent a car, they'll charge me $10, $15 a day for the Easy Pass, for unlimited Easy Pass, and I'll rent the car for a week, but I only need the Easy Pass for that one time that I'm leaving the Miami airport. Like
Uh,
that's it. So for a $3 toll, I'm paying an extra $80, for my rental. because of the
Huh.
Easy Pass. I mean, it's just, and it said, can I attach it to my own Easy Pass account? Nope, sorry. Can I pay for just 1 day of Easy Pass? Nope, sorry. What's the one-time fine, that I get if I do that? Like $160. Like, what's
That's crazy.
$160? And they say, oh, well, because you have to do the paperwork and we have to send it, we have to pay the fine from the. I think that costs 100, whatever. So, I mean, it's a $3 toll or $1.50 toll. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's crazy for
they, so the fact that there's like a space in the market that these guys, that Turo could capitalize on and be like, listen, like, you might be paying a little bit more of a fee, but you're not getting your eyes clawed out everywhere else. Like, to me, that's
yeah.
fine. That's great.
Oh yeah, and if someone goes to the toll and once I get the bill, I just add it to the invoice on them, and they just reimburse me direct, or Turo reimburses me. So yeah, the tolls you just pay exactly how much you actually use. So that's kind of the nice thing
Mm,
to do.
that's
But
great. That's really great. What are the horror stories of Turo?
I mean, I've got another buddy here. He's got a fleet of like 40 cars now. He gets stolen cars all the time. He's gotten police shown up at his door a few times for various things, drug activities. He's gotten car back
Oh
paid over
shit.
from. Yeah,
Oh
just
shit.
wrecked car. One time he got a car that like backed into something and then half-ass pulled the dent out and spray painted the car. Like it was so bad.
But that's
Um,
part of what the insurance is for. I mean, like, it's something that that you don't deal with. There's nothing
right.
that's nothing that you get screwed with. It's just that it's a headache.
Exactly. Worst case scenario, if something bad happens to me, it's $1,600 deductible on my end at the worst case scenario. That's the absolute worst thing
Right.
that can happen. Um, I don't. I'm sure it'll happen at one point. Like for example, I've got two new cars that I leased. I've got a buddy at the Nissan dealership. The GM is my good
Mm-hmm.
friend, and I just leased two brand new Nissans from him: a Nissan Leaf and a Nissan Aria. Both of which, by the way, way nicer than they should be. Um,
Really?
and I got killer deals on them. The Aria just went out for 2 months, and the Leaf just went out for 3 months. So I won't see those for till next year. Um,
Wait. On Turo?
yeah,
So you rented a car yourself. And I know
leased.
that electric cars are cheap as dirt, right?
Yeah, on the lease they are because of that tax credit here.
Right. So those leases are cheap as dirt. And do you put it? Is there a mileage restriction on Turo or no?
There is, yeah. So that's the nice thing. So I only do 10,000 miles a year on the
Wow, they
lease.
do the homework for you, dude.
Oh
They do
yeah.
everything for you.
So after if they exceed the miles, I charge 30 cents a mile on average. So I can buy miles from Nissan if I go over the lease for 10 cents a mile. So if my renters go over, I'm still making money
You're
on every
making
extra
money.
mile.
Good for you, man. Wow, I love that. I
It's not
love that, dude. That's
it's
so fucking great, dude.
it seems foolproof so far, but I'm sure something's got to happen, right?
I'm curious how. So wait, so how come? Like there are Airbnb companies or VRBO companies where like there's like big corporations and they just buy houses and houses and houses and just rent them all out under management. How come
Yep.
people don't do that with Turo,
Well,
or
it's
do they?
starting to get saturated. It is.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, it definitely is. They're trying to weed out. They're changing a bunch of the host rules right now, and the parameters for like how to get good ratings. And it's very important to like stay at the top of your ratings and be like a all-star host or whatever. So they're changing a lot of those parameters to kind of weed out those
What are
bad
the
renters.
parameters now?
You, so if you don't get a review, it's marked as a 1 star, which is
No
silly.
way.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm begging for 5 star reviews on everything. They've got like five different things like cleanliness, maintenance, overall communication, and you have to get 5 stars on all of these. Pretty much every rental, or else you're docked, and you want to maintain that status, or else yeah, you're pretty much blinded to when people are looking at cars. Your cars don't pop up. So they're making it so only the best can actually be successful with it,
Hmm.
which I think is great. It's going to weed out a lot of the shitty ones and the people that don't know what they're doing. It's going to weed out a lot of this oversaturation. Um, but that's only recent as like a month ago. So there's good things and bad things about it. But I'm hopeful that it's going to be a good thing overall and not end up screwing over all the
Well, listen,
renters.
four cars seems to be enough to be able to manage at the moment, right? Like that you could do by yourself at a certain point. But you know what? I also think that you can probably hire for a couple of dollars an hour these remote workers that like that their job will just be to like follow up with your customers, make sure everything's okay, open communication, and then the customers feel like you're like, dude, this guy's on top of everything,
Yeah.
I mean that's really what I've seen a lot of people with a lot of different businesses that they use these remote workers from other countries, and they'll pay them a couple of bucks, and for the people in these countries, they're thrilled with a couple of bucks an hour,
Right.
and they do this, they do all this work that no one really feels like doing. They'll do paperwork and licensing and customer support and all these things, and the upside. I was talking to my dad about this actually recently on a relatively related note, but not super related. Like I have a customer that bought an old Sonosite Titan from me. Right, this machine was manufactured in like 2004, right, or three, and they bought it from me, and I was like, listen, for the same price, I give you a Micromax, which is the next step up, and they're like, nope, I'm using the Titan, I want the Titan. Send them the Titan. They get it in the mail. They use it for a couple of days. They call back. It's not working. Okay, we'll repair it for you. Okay, great. So I send it back. I get it. I send it to get it repaired. I spend another, I don't know, 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks repairing it. The whole stupid deal was 3 grand, right? It's worth
Right.
nothing. And the
Peanuts.
customer gets back to me after I pay for the repair. She goes, never mind, I want to return it. So I'm like, listen, it's fine. You can return it, but there's going to be, a 20% restocking fee, and we already put the money into this. Um, and so my dad uh, was giving, we kept on giving her the runaround in terms of giving her her money back for a little while. And I'm like, Abba, if she goes online and she blasts us, I was like, you lose so much more than $2,500. Like the amount of money that you lose from that bad, those bad reviews, and like her saying like, oh yeah, this company could have given, wouldn't give us our money back for X, Y, and Z time. I'm like, it's worth thousands. It's worth tens of thousands. I mean, like if someone's gonna buy a $50,000 Philips machine from us, I was like, they're not going to buy it because they're going to be afraid that they're not going to get their money back. I'm like, why is this worth it to you? And but it's the same thing with these reviews in your cars. Like if everything is like if this is part of your business, like it's worth spending a couple of bucks to have these guys just make sure that there's no cracks in the system.
Oh yeah. Yeah, reviews are so important. I mean, nowadays everything's online, so uh, you really need like your reputation is huge. Whether that's on Turo or in our business, I'm not sure if that's been shared yet, but how we're in pretty much the same business, just on opposite sides of the United States.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
No, well, you do more repairs. We don't do
yeah,
any repairs really.
yeah, we do probe repairs, but on the other side of like at least selling systems and probes and everything, absolutely. But we have a reputation online that we've got to uphold, or else one bad review, someone's gonna see it. Some customer that might look at you is gonna see that and say, "Well, hold on." So
Yeah,
definitely,
and the other
definitely
problem, by the way,
understandable.
the other problem is that when it comes to bad reviews, everyone is super quick to post them. But when you get what you want and you're happy with it, then you don't go. Very few people are the first reaction is to go online and write about how wonderful their experience was.
Oh
Like if
yeah,
you're happy, you just go about your life and you keep on going. And if you're not happy, the first thing you do is go and complain about it to the entire world. So
hundred.
like I mean, I'm bad about this, and I have to be better. Every customer, they're just happy with the deal. Like just send them a text or an email. Hey, if you're happy with our business, we'll give you, I don't know, 10% off the next deal or free shipping or whatever. Leave us a 5-star review because it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah,
They got to do that.
I need to be better at that too. I've gotten so many new customers. I've been focusing on a lot of advertisements and social media and everything lately, and gotten tons of new customers in the last month or two. And I just need to ask for the reviews because we've probably got 30, 40 people that I need to be like, hey, if you wouldn't mind, click this link.
Dude,
Just say
30
something.
reviews is huge.
It's
And you can offer
huge.
free shipping on probes or free shipping on whatever, and then just make, I don't know, unless you already do, but that review is worth 10 bucks, 15 bucks for shipping.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth every bit of it. I mean, I've even not. Yeah, no, I've thought about like offering like, hey, we'll buy your lunch. We'll give you a little gift card or something like that. Just give us a review, honest. We don't buy good reviews. We just say give us an honest review.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Well, you could buy a good review too. That's all right.
yeah, but you don't
you know.
want to. You don't want to send that offer to people that had a bad experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's like paying you off, and they'd be like, "Who the heck are you, dude?"
Right,
you know?
exactly. So I don't even bother
Yeah.
with stuff like that. But yeah, so definitely important to also like you want to actually give a good experience
Good
to someone
service.
else too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So as long as you feel confident that you're doing that, there should be no reason you are scared to ask. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely, dude. So, so tell me, so I want to hear, so tell me about, um, the business now. Want to hear about, Integrity
yeah.
Medical Services Group?
Service, integrity medical service.
Service.
Yeah,
Wait, by the way, dude, do you remember how we met? Because I don't know how you and I actually initially even met.
yeah.
Do you remember?
I absolutely do. So I remember we were actually it was one of my first God I think first few months in the business, which was almost 7 years ago. We were in a real small office back then. I think we only had 2,000 square feet. Now we've got about six times that. We, yeah, I was just sitting there. We had like four of us sitting in the little office up front, and you gave us a call one day, and
This is your
uh,
dad's company, right?
yeah, my dad started it in 2010. I think there was four or five other people in the company. No, I was the fourth or fifth um, employee,
And
and
your dad was in the medical equipment world beforehand.
yes, so he was only in mammography and stereotactic biopsy, specifically
Okay.
like the Hologic multi-care platinums and the Fisher Mammoth test. Um, and yeah, pretty much, I actually got injured in a car accident in late 2017, and
So you were 2017. You were
I was at Land Rover
19.
Denver. Yeah, I was selling Land Rovers. I was 20 years old,
Get
and
out of here, really? You're selling Land Rovers? How?
yeah,
What was that like?
dude, it was actually pretty nice. The schedule was great. I made still to this day the most money I've ever made. Um,
Really?
oh yeah, it was kind of my
I could
bread and
see you
butter.
being a great. I could see you being a great, car salesman, dude.
Yeah, that was my third year of selling cars too, so I was very familiar. I sold GMC and Buick before that, and I stepped up into the luxury market. Totally different market. It's way less car sales per month, way less busy, but better clientele, way
Right. Higher
easier,
quality leads, I imagine.
way higher quality leads for the most part. We had like the cheap lease specials for people that just wanted the logo. But
Yeah, sure.
um, yeah, no, it was definitely a much better experience there. Sold, I was at the top of the board every month and made good money doing that. And
Did you
then
do
got in the
more
car
sales or leases?
I'd say more sales by far. In fact, the crazy thing is about half the sales were just cash payments, usually towards the end of the year by company owners trying to get the tax deduction, of course. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd
And
say
I bet they
a
didn't want
lot
the
of sales.
APR. I'm sure they didn't want to pay the interest either.
Dude, at that time, interest was nothing. It was like 2 or 3% on new
Ah,
cars.
it's crazy.
So really not. It was just, honestly, the people that bought the Big Daddy Range Rovers, 150, $250,000 cars, they're not they're not worried about financing. So a lot of them were just cash payments, just get the tax advantage there and move on with your day. So yeah, that was definitely an interesting time. But did that for about a year, and then yeah, got in the crash. Couldn't work at the dealership anymore. I don't know if I ever told you
Why
about this.
not?
When someone, well, my back issues. I've actually still got back issues from it to this day. But yeah, someone ran a red light, and it was about 60 miles an hour head on. And
No way.
oh yeah, it was pretty ugly. It was very
Oh
ugly.
shit.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, definitely not
Did
a.
you sue the guy? Did you ever get compensated for that?
Uh, well, unfortunately, we both had like the minimum full coverage insurance. So after all the medical bills and everything, I think I got like 10 grand.
Okay.
But
Not great, but not bad.
I was also not able to work, so I was not pulling any money in.
You couldn't go back to sales, you saying.
No, they wouldn't let me because of all the jumping in and out of cars and everything. I was barely able to walk at that point. Um, they said I need a doctor's note saying that I'm able to do all of those activities, and no doctor was willing to put their name on that. So,
Right.
um, yeah, so I just talked to my dad at that point and said, "Hey, I'll start up. If you want to get into this, I'll help you get into this," and helped him start the ultrasound probe repair portion of the
So how
business.
did you decide? So how did you decide on ultrasound then, from mammos and other machines?
So my brother was actually part of the company too at that point. He started doing sales for X-ray. Um, he was doing great on
This is your
that. I
older
think
brother?
that's yeah, my older brother. Yep.
Okay.
He started doing sales on the X-ray side of things and was doing well. That's actually how I joined, was just general sales. So I was just reaching out to everybody. But the history, my dad worked at a company called Unison prior to this that got bought out by GE, and
Ah,
they had a probe repair lab in Golden, Colorado, and they closed
okay.
down the once GE bought them, they closed down the Golden probe repair lab, moved them to Milwaukee, and most of the people did not want to go.
That's where GE is, right?
Milwaukee
Milwaukee.
now. Yep, yep. And so the
Okay.
people that didn't want to go, my dad knew, and kind of the first guys that reverse engineered the probes in the United States. And my dad said, "Hey, let's get one or two of you guys in." And we started with one guy, and that's about the same time I joined. And we just saw a need, like, hey, we got to get him busy. And I said,
Right.
all right, guess that's what I'm gonna do. So we decided
Wow.
that's my role, and yeah, kind of ran with it. And here we are. We've got 9 full-time lab employees, and doing 50 plus probes a month. We got hundreds of probes in stock now, and
Yeah, I got your list, dude. I got
yeah,
your inventory list.
yep,
I
yep,
don't,
yep. That's not including like the 1,000 that are just sitting there waiting for stuff to get done on. So
and the stuff that you have from us from 2022, 2021, that I
2021,
just
20.
2022.
I've got about 20 of yours still just sitting there waiting for you to tell me what to
Yeah,
do.
dude. The truth is, I think that you should. I think that really, if you want to get rid of them, I think just send my. If you just send us an email and just say, "Listen, I'll give you X, Y, and Z for, whatever you have left, and just keep, use them for parts." Then
Yeah.
great. I think that's, but other, like in my dad's head, like, as long as they're not in front of his face, he doesn't have to think about them. Like
Yeah.
that's the way that he works. You met him a couple of times, right? You met him at a wedding.
Oh,
You met him out in Colorado a couple
I
of
took
times,
him
right?
boating. I took him on my bass boat when he came
Oh,
out here.
right.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely know
Right, right.
actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
that's
drove
so
around New
funny.
York. He let me borrow his car for a couple days or a few days.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
great. I remember that. That was
yeah.
great. That was a lot of
The
fun.
wedding that was very good times. Hung out with him at the wedding
Dude, your
quite a bit.
first Jewish wedding, right?
Absolutely insane. Yeah.
Tell me what your perception was. What was different? What was funny? What was weird? What was everything about that to you?
Honestly, I don't think anything was weird. Besides, the only thing that was tough is when I didn't understand what people were saying. But
Yeah, you mean
um,
like under the actual ceremony part.
right, exactly. But outside of that, dude, the dancing, you being carried in, the amount of people, the place was beautiful, the food was amazing, the energy was seriously. I hate to say it, but I think it's kind of ruined most other weddings in my life.
Dude, dude, I did not eat an ounce of food from from the previous night until I got back to my hotel after the wedding. I didn't eat
Oh,
anything, dude.
jeez.
It was crazy. It was such a everything was just such a whirlwind. Everything was just like yeah, it's funny because I was trying very hard. I was like, I hope to only get married once in my life.
Of
Like
course.
that's my aspiration right now. And if it's only gonna happen once, like I gotta be as like just enjoy it as much as I can.
Yeah.
And so the dancing was split up into a first dance and then a meal and then another dance. And so that first dance, a lot of the guests that'll come just want to come and say congratulations and just say hello to the family and me. And so they'll come, and that's when like it was like the biggest swarm. And
Oh, yeah.
and I have zero recollection of the first hour of dancing because it was just a whirlwind of just faces and movement and music and just moshing. And I was like, I don't like. I don't remember that. It just completely blocked out of my mind. And I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. I was stone cold sober. It was just complete overload in
Just
terms
a
of
lot.
stimulation. Yeah, just so much going on, dude. It's
Speaking
crazy.
of which, did you ever find the video for that? I wanted to see it. Did you ever?
Yeah, we haven't watched it back. I'm coming up actually this week on our 3rd year anniversary. Um, yeah, I know. Can you believe it, dude? It's been 3 years. Um, but I'm coming on my 3rd year anniversary, and we still haven't watched our wedding video through. And I think part of the reason why is because it's on a USB stick, and like it's so foreign, it's so old, and I'm like, I don't want to stick a USB into my TV and try to figure out how to get there and watch it. But I got to do it, dude. We had some great pictures.
Yeah.
But
I want,
you
I
know,
want, I want a copy. I want to relive that for sure.
I gotta get that to you, dude. Definitely.
Yeah,
But
that was
so
a crazy, crazy time.
I'm so happy you came in for that. I really am. And now you gotta go come check out our new the new place down in South Florida, dude. Now you gotta come. I was living in a townhouse before, and it was cute, but now and it's nothing compared to your Colorado property because South Florida houses suck. Um, they're all built in like the mid to late '60s, and
My house is 70s.
is it?
It is. Yeah, I've just done a lot to it. But yeah, 70, 79. I think it was officially done, moved in. But yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I'm gonna be in Orlando next December actually
in
for
a
about a
year.
week. Yeah, for RSNA, and then going down right after RSNA for with the girlfriend, and we're gonna be doing some Disney stuff, and then going on a Disney
Wait,
cruise
you're
with her
talking
family.
in a month from now, or in a year and a month from
A
now?
year and a month.
How do you even know what's gonna happen in a year from now, dude?
Just trying to be confident as you can, you know.
Good for you, dude. I
Things
love
are
that.
going well, you know. Gotta take advantage of it when it's going well. So we're just
Definitely.
planning on the best, hoping for not the worst. So,
All right. Good for you, dude. I love that. That's great. But you don't have any trips down. You have any trips planned between now and then? Anything in the short term? Because
not
you
to
have a lot
Florida.
available to you, right?
Yeah, not to Florida. I've got we're going to Cancun in February. Um,
Nice.
I am trying to do a San Diego trip at some point just to go back and see my family. Go around San Diego a bit, maybe do some skydiving again because I haven't done that in a few years.
You skydive?
I've gone once, and it was probably the most exhilarating experience. I want to do it again. I definitely want
Dude,
to.
you could not pay me. You could not pay me enough money to go skydiving, dude. I'm
Worth
so afraid, dude. What was it scary?
Yeah, at first, I think the scariest part was flying up and having the door to the plane completely open, like 4 feet, just whole of the plane.
No
Um,
way.
but dude, once you're
Did it?
standing at the edge, ready to jump out, it's either you make it or you don't. Like it's either going to be the most fun last 45 seconds of your life, or like,
It's
uh,
gonna be. I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be the slowest 45 seconds too, right?
it's it is pretty. It does feel like longer than 45 seconds. I think it's if you do it at sea level, you get a little bit more free fall because it can you get out here in Colorado we're at 5,000 feet, so you miss that amount of free fall already, which is
Right.
what 15-20 seconds. But it feels like a long time, and you definitely it's just a thrill, man. It is. I would say
It's
if
just a
there's
thrill.
something that you can push yourself to not be scared of because it's worth it that much, I'd say so far it's skydiving.
Dude, I have an uncle. He passed away a couple years ago, but actually my son's named after him. But he was terrified of heights his entire life. He never was not. But at some point, someone convinced him to go skydiving once,
Uh huh.
and he became an addict, dude. And he actually he sky I mean, he would enter these. He was the videographer, so he would have all the guys jump out of the plane and do these cool formations, and he'd be the last one out, and like he'd climb onto the side of the plane and like you'd have like a GoPro or whatever attached to his helmet. And he has videos on YouTube and stuff. And so he climbs onto the side of the plane. He watches everyone jump out, and then he gives them like an extra couple of seconds, and then he'll jump after them, and they'll make all these super cool
Oh,
formations together. Like they'll all hold hands, like triangles and stars and squares and circles, and some will let go, and some will break off and come back together. And his job was not his job, his hobby was to like to just capture all that. And
oh
it ended
yeah.
up affecting his. He did it so many times, it ended up affecting his hearing. Um,
Oh yeah, that would
like
happen.
permanent hearing damage because just the wind rushing, I guess, so quickly, so strongly for so many times. I guess just really stretches, hurts your eardrums. But he was like, listen, it's not the same thing as heights. He always said that. He's like,
Right.
it's he goes at that point when you're that high up. I think that a lot of people's fear of heights comes from the fear that whatever they're on is not going to support them for that height, and they're going to, fall and hurt themselves, right? Like
Yep.
you almost
Yep.
you almost don't trust like the thing that you're standing on to support you. Um, But when you're so high up, like that's not your concern anymore. Now it's just a thrill, you know?
100%. No, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, it's not. You're not even. It doesn't even feel like you're falling. You're just kind of yeah. And when you're looking at the world from that perspective up there, just air. The only thing that's separating you is air. It's not the same feeling at all. It doesn't feel like it's a heights thing because I'm scared of heights too. Like if I'm like on my roof, I'm terrified. like,
Really?
oh for sure. Yeah, I
You got a
love it
great
on
roof, dude.
yeah, yeah, I do
It's a
look
sick
down up
roof.
there, and we get to see the sunset from my roof and everything, and the mountain range, and it's really, really nice. But I will say, like getting on and off of it or going towards the edge, I don't like it. Totally different experience than skydiving, though, for sure. I definitely see that.
Right, right. You've lived in Colorado your whole life?
No, no. I'm actually born and raised in San Diego, California, and
Okay.
moved out
That
here.
explains the blue blood.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I brought it from. No, I think yeah, I was 9 years old when I got taken out here. My dad moved out here, and I just moved with him and my brother out
Yeah.
here, and
Uh-huh.
went back and forth a couple times. Went did a little high school in Murrieta, California, but came back, finished it up out here, and have stayed since. So,
Do you
uh,
remember what it was like living in California
oh yeah,
or in San Diego?
definitely, 100%. I mean, we
Would
lived block. I mean, my school growing up, when I went to a private Lutheran school, um, it was about 2 blocks from the ocean. So there'd be trips when we just
That's
go down to the
so cool.
beach. Yeah, oh yeah, all the time. All the taco shops. I definitely can't forget that. You cannot. The San Diego Mexican food is unmatched anywhere, as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
Um,
because it's pretty much Mexico. I
pretty
was in
much.
San Diego once, and I was just driving. I don't even remember where I was going, but I missed my exit, and like it was like I ended up at the border, like, at the checkpoint or whatever. And I'm like, dude, where am I? Like, what? I didn't even realize. Like, I didn't.
It's that
My
easy.
geography. My geography is shit until I actually go to the place myself. You know, like
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about America until I drove cross country, and I was like, oh, now I know where everything is. You know, like it just made sense.
Yeah, yeah, we were like when I grew up, we were maybe 30 minutes from the border. Um,
It's crazy.
so I remember there was a few times growing up where we would just hop across the border, and it was so much easier back then. We just hop across the border and like spend a day during the day, just eating some tacos and getting some arts and crafts, and head back for dinner or whatever. So there's
It's so
definitely
cool.
times when we do go to Tijuana all the time and just spend some of the day there. And yeah, it was definitely a whole different life growing up, though. Definitely a lot different now. I went back to Tijuana last year, actually. Me and my brother, we just walked across the border. Um, just spent the day there. Had beers, lunch,
That's
kind of
so cool.
explored a little bit. Man, it
And
is a
getting back and forth was no problem last year?
no, not at all. It took a little bit longer to get back, just because of the lines, but walking in was seriously no big deal. It was funny. I actually didn't have. Oh, I forget. There's some. I didn't have like the right documentation, so we just paid one of the guards $20. He just let us
Get
through.
out of here, really?
Yeah, yeah. It was that simple. They don't care who goes there. They care about who comes back. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Definitely.
yeah,
It's so crazy.
it was very,
Which
very.
which would you ever live anywhere other than Colorado at this point?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't get me wrong. I like Colorado, but you see what's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
It's kind of the worst it's ever been out here. The most expensive. It's getting really close to how California is, especially in terms of living conditions and expenses, taxes, policies, everything. So I'm definitely open to other locations. There's some
Have you
dreams.
ever been to Nashville?
I love Nashville. I've been there a few times.
Dude, I fucking love Nashville. Dude. I
Oh,
was only there once. I was there for one night, dude. I had a customer that bought a couple of CX50 probes from me,
yep.
and he and I was like, and he needed them right away. And I was like, you know what? Let me go deliver it to him because I knew that he bought a couple of machines from me, and then he told me he was gonna buy a couple other machines, but I ended up buying like brand new Vivid IQs for like 40 50 40 50 grand. I'm like, you know what? This might be a big enough guy that's worth going to check out. Go meet him, deliver it myself. And I was like, and I've never been to Nashville. And I love music and I love breweries and I love all this stuff. I'm like,
Oh
let me
yeah.
just go check it out, dude. I took off from Fort Lauderdale at 4:30 in the afternoon. I landed there at 5:30 in Nashville time because it's an hour back from Florida.
Yep. Yep.
And I met with the guy. I hung out with him for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. He showed me around. He told me, what part of town I should go. Hear some good music, some good local stuff, and some beer. And and then I was back in my hotel room at like 11:30, 12. I took a 6 a.m. flight back, and I was back before the next day. And it was the best time, dude. It
Oh
was
man,
like it was such a pleasant town. It was so great.
it is super cool. Your first experience seemed a lot different than my first experience in Nashville.
What'd
Uh,
you do?
well, actually, flew out to Cincinnati to buy a car, and took one of my best friends with me, and we drove, all the way back to Colorado.
How
Decided,
far is that?
God, I forget. It's like 25-hour drive or something. It was long.
Nice,
So we
nice.
decided let's make a overnight stay in Nashville, and we did another overnight in Kansas, just to kind of make it a nice, fun road trip.
Kansas sucks. What'd you think of Kansas?
I mean, it was just a place to sleep.
hmm
So, but yeah, so we go to Nashville first stop. We get there probably what 4 or 5 o'clock, and we do like the whole experience. We go to like the museum. We do all that fun stuff. It was really really cool, all the music stuff, and then we go to Broadway, um, to kind of bar hop around there.
hmm
Uh, we were planning on getting a good night's of sleep because we got to drive 15 hours the next day,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we ended up staying. The bars closed at like 3 ish. Um, we closed down the bars, and then we actually just made friends with these people there too. We ended up staying up to like 4 something in the morning.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Getting back to the hotel, slept for like maybe 3 4 hours.
Oh, good for
Got up.
you, dude. That's what life's about, man.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a lot, but definitely worth it and definitely a fun experience. I'm glad we did it. But
What's cool about it is that what I found really cool about, or I mean, and it could just be my romantic first impression, just from being there once. What I found that I really enjoyed was that it's not there's a ton of culture and there's a ton of personality to Nashville,
oh yeah,
but it's not overpacked or crowded or expensive or anything like that. Like it's kind of just like people like it and people like there's like the people that live there love their lives there, but like I don't like it's not like an enormously touristy place like Miami or Orlando or Vegas or something like that where everything's a fortune and everything is just congested and packed and even Manhattan. And
right,
like from the time I got off the plane to in my rent a car and on my way to the customer was maybe 12 minutes.
wow.
Like the whole thing was just so smooth. And I don't know if that was an exception or that's the rule, but it just gave me like it was so cool to go to a place that had so much history and so much culture and and also was not a massive pain in the ass to get around.
100%. Yeah, I mean, my experience has been it's absolutely slammed there, but it could be this a different timing that I've gone.
Really? It was slammed and you were there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there goes my theory.
I mean, going through the bars and everything was. I mean, it depends on where too. Broadway itself is always slammed. Outside of that, yeah, there's probably some fair. I mean, the traffic. You're right. The traffic wasn't bad. It's mostly foot traffic. Outside of that, you're right. It's relatively easy, but definitely gets pretty busy in Broadway. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. There's always like 75 bridal showers. Like,
Oh
uh,
yeah, dude. That's I think it's the number one bachelorette party location.
it is. Which at that point in my life was a really cool thing to witness. But
I
um,
imagine, dude. It's always a
so
good thing to witness, dude.
that's fair.
Bachelor and bachelorette party is always great to witness because it's just people having the most fun that that they're gonna have in a long time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely incredible seeing. I mean, people really let loose there, so it's definitely fun to watch. But
hmm
I can't keep up with that anymore. I'm too old for that, man.
Dude, I am. I got to I have found myself being such an old man, and I don't know when it happened, dude. It happened like overnight, and or maybe just it just happened like in little stages without me realizing, it, and then all of it culminated at one point. I'm like, I feel like I'm 40, and like my wife's whole family. My wife's the older, one of the older ones in her family, and she's 24, I think. I think. Don't quote me on that. I think. But so like my in-laws are in, either just graduated high school or still in high school. I have a 5-year-old brother-in-law, and like the things that they say and do, I'm like, I feel like I'm 60. I don't understand a single word that comes out of their mouth. Like, I don't understand like what you young people are doing, and I'm like, when did I become like this, dude? I'm only 28. Like, I'm not, I'm not.
Yeah,
How did it just feels like everything changes so quickly now. I
I
guess it's
feel
social
the
media.
same, man. I think it's social media. I think the COVID thing really was a big gap. I feel the same way. And you've got the wife and the kid. I don't know if you have that, but I definitely feel like, yeah, over the last pretty much 4 years, it's felt like 15 years for sure. Feeling old, more pains, sleeping
More
less.
pains, dude.
Happy to wake
Oh, are
up
you
at
sleeping
6
less,
o'clock.
really?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's something that does not affect me yet. And, I actually kind of want to. I'm one of those people. There are people that like, oh, I got 4 hours of sleep and I run just fine. Like I
right.
need like, I need like 9 hours, dude. And like if I don't, I'm just zonked.
Yeah,
And I wish because there's so many things I try to do. I do this podcast, and I teach and I do sales, and and obviously I try to be a good dad and husband, and I try and I have friends in the area, and like just balancing everything and doing
oh,
everything well. I'm like I wish I operated on 5 hours of sleep. I wish my body did that, but my grandparents still sleep like 10 hours a night, like they're not those people that like, oh yeah, I go to bed at like midnight and wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and eat breakfast. Like no, you go to bed at midnight, we wake up at 10:30. Like what? Like how? Like, that's your life? That's awesome. That's great.
yeah,
But
that would be
not
nice.
me, dude.
No,
Hmm.
it's definitely there's times where I'm like, man, I wish I slept more, but if I can't operate on 6 hours, I'm fine with it. Like, you just got to get. I just got so much to do. Here's the thing about me too. The second I wake up, I can't go back to sleep. Um,
Mm,
so if I wake up, I'm like, all right, might as well just get up, shower, just do the day. Let's just get this going. Um,
yeah,
and it's worked out.
yeah.
It's worked out pretty well. I mean, I honestly I get a lot more done. The house is cleaner. The projects are getting done. Work's getting done. I've got the dog that keeps me
I
very.
was gonna ask about the dog. How's it? What's that commitment been like?
It's way easier nowadays, but that first 6 months to a year was tough. I mean, it's a golden retriever, and he's not fixed, so he is very full of energy, full of testosterone, just pushing through him. He's a nut job. He's absolutely insane. Kind of a little bit of a psychopath. It doesn't pause. You can have him running for miles, for hours, and he'll take like maybe a 3 to 5 minute break, and he's ready to go again. Um,
Really? What do you do
yeah.
with all that? How do you handle all that energy? You just let him
So
run around your yard?
So I've got a nice yard and a dog door, so he goes out all day long and just sprints back and forth a few times and comes back in. But other than that, there's a dog park like 5 minutes from me that's even bigger. So he'll sprint with the dogs there for an hour or so, and come back, or obviously walk in. So I'll take him to the office a couple times a week at least, and get to have a run around the whole warehouse and office there all day and
Do
out
they love
front.
him there?
Oh, they love him. He's kind of the face of integrity at this point. Everyone loves when he gets to work, and I take him in, and usually there's a bath place by the office, so I'll take him and get a nice spa day, and then bring him back in all clean, and yeah, he just goes nuts. He loves everyone. He makes his It's really fun. We show up, and he makes like his stops at everyone's office and everyone's desk, and says, "All right, your turn, your turn, your turn." And then when he's all done, he'll come back to the office and expect a treat, and he's got a lot of personality. He's definitely the most human dog I've ever met in my life. So
Really?
he's a
Do you think
very
it's because of the way that it's because of the way that you treat him, or you think it's just his personality?
I'd say honestly, probably a bit of both. He's had a very exciting life. I'm a very social person myself, so I've had parties and people over all the time. Since day one, I had like 16 or 17 people over the first day I had him. So he was
Whoa.
very socialized. And then I've got, at that point, I had two roommates too. So between myself and one of my roommates is a Denver health paramedic, so he worked the night shift. So he'd be up or he'd be up during the day or during the night. Either way, there was always somebody awake and playing with him 24/7 for the first year of his
That's so
life.
great. That's so
So
great. It's so
yeah.
healthy.
Oh yeah, he's a very healthy dog. He's actually on the smaller side. I want to say about 60 pounds. I think it's perfect. Um, and he's very very healthy, very happy. He's a very good boy. Very 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 fun
Dude,
experience so far.
you should. I hope that you apply that same philosophy to when you have a kid, dude. Because when when my son was born, Jews have this thing that it's called it's basically that the first Friday night that a boy is born, you throw a party pretty much for it, just to like welcome the new member of the tribe, right?
Yeah,
And but the baby could be literally a couple of days old. You know, I mean, like if my wife gives birth on Wednesday and then Friday night, he could be 2 days old, and you have 50 people in the apartment in the house, you know, or 30 people in the house. So
it'll
my
get
wife got
used
all
to
pissed off at me.
socializing.
My wife got pissed off at me. I took him out during the party like Simba from The Lion King, and I'm like, I'm passing her around, and she's like, "This kid is like 2 days old, and like every single person in the community is like holding him." But um, but he
That's
loves
awesome.
people, and he loves people, and he's friendly, and he's he's social, and he's fun, and he's easygoing. For now, but he's only a year and a half, but I think it makes a big difference because I mean, there are a lot of people that, and I don't, this isn't a right or wrong thing. Everyone, has to do what's right for them. But I know a lot of people that are very disciplined and very scheduled and very cautious, and the kid, and that's like I mean, that's nurture. That's the way that the kid kind of grows up. And I'm kind of a wimp myself, and I really didn't want my kid to be a wimp. So I was like, we're gonna get you to do a lot of fun things at a young age and get you not afraid of life. Because. Um, I'm pretty much a vag. So, you know,
Oh, come on. Give yourself some
yeah.
credit.
So, but yeah, I mean, I can imagine how a dog, because dogs are probably the most social animals, right? Or up
Oh,
there.
I'd like to think so. I mean, we've kind of programmed to be so. So yeah, I'd like to think that yeah, dogs are probably the most social creatures there are out there. That we know at least. At least on this lifetime and this earth.
Well, yeah, there are other animals that are probably that are social with one another, but like interspecies wise, I think dogs are up there, have to be up there.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I can see that for sure. They're just
but
always
yeah,
happy.
what did you say?
They're just always happy.
They're always happy. Yeah, I keep on going back and forth as to whether or not I want to get a dog. I don't want to have to deal with like taking more care of more things in my life, but like I feel like it's so much fun and it'd be so good for like kids and a family, like to have a dog to roughhouse with and hang out with, and but
It's
I
worth it.
really don't want to deal with more shit, dude.
So it depends on the breed. Honestly, the golden he's a lot because you just have to vacuum and dust and do laundry and clean the couches so often. Um, so that's the biggest thing. Honestly, I have a company I pay like $7 a week to go through my yard and clean up all the poop. Just it's worth it. It's so little money and so much. I just don't
Seven
need
dollars a week.
worth every penny. Yeah.
It's
Um,
it's $30 a month.
yeah, it's absolutely insane. So I don't do that. It's worth $7 to me. I will absolutely do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude.
I just that's one of my least favorite things is picking up dog crap. So that's kind of a nice thing for me. But outside of that, I mean, it's just cleaning. That's the hardest part. And right now, we got about we're coming up probably on a foot and a half, 2 feet. It's dumping here. So he's in and out of the dog door, playing in the snow, jumping around all
The
day.
whole
Love
house is
that, man.
soaking wet now.
Oh yeah, soaking wet, mud, everything. So you got to get the mop out a little bit more often, and I've got like two of the cordless like the battery stick vacuums, and I'm just using that
Yeah,
every
just letting
day.
it go nonstop. That's
Oh
so
yeah,
funny. What did your girlfriend think of the dog?
she is she absolutely loves him.
Oh yeah, good, big fan.
I will say he gets a little jealous. Like, dude, it's really funny. Like if I give her a hug, he just sits there right at our side, sits down, and starts whimpering. Like like he
By
is
the way, so
so
does my
jealous.
son.
Yeah.
My
Very, very
son,
jealous.
if we're on the couch watching a movie and he sees us next to one another, the kid will insert himself between us. Be like, no, 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 no. You're not. Guess what? You're not doing this whole cuddle thing without me, man. I'm getting in on this. And like,
Yep, yep, that's exactly how he is. He's very, very jealous, very loving. They get along great. She absolutely loves him, and he loves her. He's a big fan. Like when she comes over every day usually, he gets very very excited every time. So uh, yeah,
My cousin had to get rid of his dog. He had a little dog named Skippy, and his wife was expecting. They were young. They were living in Queens. They were just out of college, and it got to the point where the dog was so overprotective of her that he would attack my cousin.
ooh,
And they were like, we love this dog, and it was really hard for them to do, but they had to end up, they ended up giving it away because, or, finding another home for it because they were like, we don't want, like, if the kid is born, like the dog has, has aggressive tendencies, protectiveness either towards her or towards the baby, whichever one, but either way, like, you didn't want the dog, lashing
no,
out at the owners,
it can happen.
Um,
Yeah, you want to be careful of breeds, especially with the newborn. Or I guess he's not newborn anymore. How old is the kid now? 2?
No, my kid or my
Yeah,
cousin's?
your kid.
My kid's just over a year and a half. I've been
Year
saying a
and a
year
half.
and a half for like a half a year, so I really don't know. But like,
Fair enough.
like I'm because my wife talks in months. I don't even know what that means. She's like, "Oh yeah, he's 19 months." I'm like, "What does that mean? That's not like that's not an age."
That would
So
be what, year and 7? Yeah, I also don't like the months or weeks talk. Like, oh yeah, he's 173 weeks now. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
all right,
yeah.
but
Pretty
how
wild.
how long is that?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't convert to any number in my head. It's just a bunch of numbers that don't really mean anything to me. But I kind of just base it more on like what he's able to do or not. So like he starts talking now, or like he's really learning a lot. I gave him a muffin this morning. He goes, muffin, and I'm like, how'd you even know that word? Like, what are you talking about, dude? And he just
Oh,
walks
that's
around and he
awesome.
just eats it and leaves it on the floor, and I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as a dog, by the way. I think, based on what you're telling me, and I'm telling you, it sounds like they're pretty similar.
I assume there's a lot of similarities. I believe your commitment's a little bit harder and a little bit more important than mine. But
Yeah, but also
yeah,
my kid eventually stops pooping on the floor, and your dog does not. Or
that's true.
my kid can walk
That's a fair
himself
point.
eventually. The dog's not.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, you
that'll
keep
be that'll be the difference.
your training continues. Mine ended like 6 months ago. So
Hmm.
that's the
That's right.
best he's
That's
gonna
right.
get. He's even the best dog in the world, smartest dog in the world, still shits in your yard.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's for
Unfortunately,
sure. But overall, I mean, again, $7 a week is worth it. It's fine.
$7 a week is a no brainer, dude. So where would you consider moving?
You know, I'm really open to so many places. Off the top of my head, the ones that sound, and I don't think this is short term goals. I think these are kind of long term goals. Wyoming, Montana, they're just absolutely gorgeous.
Wow. Hmm. But they're
Absolutely love
cold
it.
as balls in the winter, dude. They're worse than
I mean,
Denver or
yes and no,
Colorado.
but when it's that cold, you don't spend much time outside anyways. Like it got negative, it gets into into the negatives here, and you just don't do much outside. You have a garage, so your cars are fine, and you do your driving when you need to. But I mean, if you're not commuting a bunch, that's why I'm saying long term. I'm definitely not planning on having a commute if I live in those areas. So,
Right.
uh, the price of living and everything that you need to buy there is way more affordable, at least for now. Way more affordable. The areas are absolutely gorgeous. It's slower, less people. I'm not a huge city guy, as I'm sure you know. I just
Yeah.
I've met you in Denver a couple times, and I'm like every time I'm like I haven't been here in 3 months. Like I'm not a
That's
city
crazy.
guy. So yeah, living more in the country, having a little bit of property sounds really nice. It's just really hard to do that right now out in Colorado. So I don't know, something like that would be cool. I mean, that being said, there's lots of places you can own property. So I don't know. I'd
You know
be
what's
I'd be
cool?
open to
West
a lot of places.
Colorado, like
Yeah,
on the border of Arizona, of Colorado and Arizona, is so cool. I mean, I don't know if there's any like towns or like like
yeah.
any like life there, but I mean, I've driven through 4 or 5 times, and it's breathtaking there. It's so cool.
It is like Durango area, yeah, and then there's always like Grand Junction area, like going into Utah. Um, Beautiful. There's still opportunity to get some land out there. It's still expensive, but you're still in Colorado, and there's still you're in between so many cool things. You got Moab. If you keep going west a little bit, and then you still got the mountains if you want to do mountain stuff. Um, Yeah, I would definitely be open to Western Colorado still. That'd be something on my list, absolutely.
But if you're going to move, I imagine you want to move to a place that would align a little bit more, like what you said, like lifestyle, cost of living, taxes, just
Right.
overall policy. And if you're going to leave Colorado, you may as well. It's like I mean, I feel like unfortunately, I've been saying this for a couple of years now. Like I feel, especially after having gone to college there and spending a lot of time there, I feel like upstate New York should be a different state than like the rest of New York. Like I feel like
I
Manhattan and the
agree.
boroughs and like right around that area, those should all be like one state, and that's fine. Let them do their own thing. But the people that live upstate, 100 miles north of Manhattan, like their lives are so dramatically different, and like what's relevant and important. Like forget about like what their political leanings or not are, what their like as a
Lifestyle.
state, yeah, as a state, what your policies are going to be reflective as to what the most important thing for people in Manhattan and the boroughs and Brooklyn and everything are, or even
Right.
Long Island. But it's not, and it's like it's not relevant to these guys that are owning farms or land or living upstate in these little towns, these little cities. Like and it almost have to be antithetical to one another. Like
Oh yeah.
what's good for for a policy for an apartment building in Manhattan is going to be a totally different policy than a crappy little college apartment building in Binghamton, New York. And to say that like one like the law or state the state laws should reflect both of them the same way or impact both of them the same way just feels a little silly to me.
100%. Yeah, like where your dad's located. What's the is it Nyack? Where's
Rockland, yeah, but
Okay.
it's right by Nyack, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That area is completely. It's a totally different. It's a different state,
Dude, and if
essentially.
you head another 25 miles north of that, which I don't think you did, but if you had another 25 miles north of that, it's even crazier, dude. Like,
Just
it's
farming.
so glaring what the differences are. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I imagine that, but that's why it's funny because I don't love anything about Florida in particular, like about the actual place. Like, it's swampy, it's humid, like the houses are crappy and old, and they're all ranches, they're all one-story houses, unless you're living in a gated community and you have a ridiculous HOA. And and I'm like, but living here, like no income tax is a huge deal, Having having DeSantis as a governor, overall has been like a massive net positive,
Oh
just
yeah.
just like I just there's so much that the state does that's just so practical that just makes sense and you're like, this is great, but like, why don't they do this like 100 miles north, where you have a decent house and like have four seasons? Like why do I have to live with termites and bugs and possums and, in the swamp, with alligators and iguanas to just get like a normal place,
Oh, for
Um,
sure, dude. Yeah. I mean, funny you mentioned that. Not too much north. I'll be in Georgia over Thanksgiving with the girls' family, and
oh, really? Which part of Georgia?
Peachtree City.
Nice,
Yeah,
cool,
so
dude. Is
a little
that
nicer
where she's
weather
from?
out there right now too. But yeah, she's from Peachtree City. We're going to spend Thanksgiving with her family and then head straight up to RSNA from there. So yeah, to answer
Wait,
your
when's
question
that?
earlier,
That's this year or next year again?
this year that's what next week, the week after. I don't even know. The
Yeah.
20th.
And where's RSNA going to be this year?
It's in Chicago still. Uh, but
Dude, I
we're
love
just going
Chicago.
straight from her family's house straight up to RSNA. There's no reason to come back here. So.
You're flying or you're driving?
Flying. Oh yeah, flying from here, from Colorado to Georgia, from Georgia to Chicago, and then Chicago back to Denver.
Dude, you should. I mean, I don't know you like country music, right?
Big fan.
Big fan of country music. Okay.
Yeah, we're seeing Alan
There's
Jackson in OKC in January too.
no way.
Yeah,
Really? Dude, I
yeah. So
love Alan Jackson.
it's gonna be awesome, man. It's supposed to be his last tour, and yeah, we just booked that whole trip, and I'm very, very excited for that.
Wow, good for you. That's awesome, dude. I saw who did I see? I saw Zach Brown in West Palm Beach, so about an hour north of me.
Oh
He
yeah,
was he was great. He put on a great show.
I've seen him a couple times. Great, great shows.
Have you?
Oh yeah,
You saw him in Denver, or you saw him around?
in Denver. once was at Fiddler's Green, and God, I don't remember the other one. It might have been at Fiddler's Green again.
Did you do Red Rocks? Or does he do Red Rocks?
I have not seen him at Red Rocks. I've seen like John Party at Red Rocks. I've seen who was it? Oh my goodness.
Well, either
Uh,
way, when you're in Chicago, dude,
yeah.
you gotta Google, just like, uh, local blues bar, right?
Mhm.
And because Chicago is the home of like the blues, Chicago, Memphis, like those places have like the best blues. My dad and I were in Skokie over the summer, which is just around 25 minutes north of like I don't know north, but 25 minutes outside of the Chicago, the Chicago city part.
Oh shoot! Hey, can you hear me? There you are.
Sorry about that. I got cut off. My dad, my phone's not doing not disturb, but if you call more than once and it goes through, it pauses the
Yep.
recording. But sorry about that. So my dad and I were in Skokie for the weekend, and we went out Saturday night. And I googled just a little, like any local. Googled the local blues bar, and we walk in at 12:30, right? Like 12:30 in the morning, and they're just playing their first set. And this and it's a little hole in the wall bar, and cash cover charge to get in. Everything in the bar is cash. Like you can't, like, no credit cards. There's an ATM when you walk in. And and you and this band is it's a keys play. The stage was too small for the four players to play on, right? It was like the piano player was just like somewhere else, and the guitar and bassist were playing, and then a woman would get up and sing every now and then. They'd go back and forth. um and they played till about two. We left at like 2:30, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna play one more set. We'll probably end up playing till like 4 or 5, and then we'll call it a night." And I'm like, "That's what you do? Like, that's what you do every week? That's so much fun, you know? It's so
Uh,
cool." And the music was so good, dude. I don't know if you ever listened to blues, but
oh
a
yeah.
lot of countries, based in blues. Stapleton's got like a lot, like a very bluesy style,
Big fan of
and
Stapleton. Yeah.
yeah, I love him, dude. He's so talented. He's got such a great voice.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely a big fan. Definitely would love to do some stuff like that. Haven't had much of the opportunity, but I mean, it's also all over the place. So I probably can, just haven't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you could, but you have to do. I've noticed, it's because it's so funny, and this kind of goes back to like the whole, like, the fact that business and real estate and the whole world kind of switched to online. Like online real estate is way more valuable than in-person real estate, right?
Yeah.
At this point, and because the Google searches are so saturated, and the biggest company, the biggest brands obviously take up the most space on Google. All these little mom and pop or hole in the wall places kind of just fall to the wayside because you just can't find them, right? Like if you Google live music near me, it'll take you to like a big concert hall, or
Right.
like
The big venues.
a house of blues, and like, yeah, cool, House of Blues is fun, but I want something that's like grassroots, authentic wherever I am, Nashville, Chicago, even Fort Lauderdale. So I Google local places or boutique places or what's the other word? I'd search like not non-touristy top things to do. And like what do the locals around here do? I'll ask locals. I'll stop into a pizza shop and be like, "Hey, what do locals here, in New Orleans do?" And it's not like the main place. It's not Broadway. It's not like the main places that everyone goes. It's the side street off of that's the coolest thing in the entire world. So if you, so and I found places in my backyard here in Florida that I never knew existed, and you would never find if you didn't just ask someone like local about it. And they're the coolest freaking places in the world, and some of the most
Oh yeah.
talented, under like not there's so much more talent than there are famous people in this world,
Oh,
and the people that have all that talent are just local people, right? So if you go to a local jazz night or a local, like there's I'm a big Grateful Dead fan. So I'll go by myself even to like a brewery where a Grateful Dead cover band is playing, and it's a bunch of like stepdads in cargo shorts, just like jamming. And dude, they are so talented, and I have so much. You get a couple of cocktails, you smoke a little bit, and you just jam out, and they'll play for 3 or 4 hours, and the people are so nice because they're all local people. They're not tourists that are looking to, that are coming from out of town for a party. They're just like, let's just have a good time, hear some good music, and like just jam out, man. And
Oh,
those are the best experiences.
there's so many smaller venues. A lot of them are in Denver, which again isn't too far, but there's so many small venues here that you could just go to any day of the week, pretty much, and there's almost always some sort of show, even if it's 100, 200 people or less, 50 people.
That's
Um,
even better usually,
yeah,
from my experience.
yeah, I've been to a lot of those, and man, they're great. And my little brother is one of those extremely talented musicians. He's a drummer.
Oh,
Um,
really?
Yeah, he's out in San Diego, but he is absolutely incredibly talented, and I'm looking forward.
What kind of music does he play?
He's kind of he's 18 years old, so he's kind of formed a little bit over the years. He was in very heavy metal, and now he's in kind of like a rock punk band, um,
Nice.
and
That's
it's
the, that's
actually
the, that's the
stuff that I was
transition,
looking.
dude.
Yeah,
That's the maturing over there, right?
yep. And man, I'm telling you, the music that he's putting out now is stuff that I would actually listen to and I actually enjoy. And I think the greater audience and definitely more potential. But just I mean, he's been banging on drums since God, he was like 2 years old. So I used to play guitar while he was drumming, and we would just jam out for hours. And
Do you still play
it's
guitar?
really cool.
I remember you had a
Uh,
guitar in your house, but the string was popped.
yeah, I've restrung it a few times since. Yeah, I've got a few guitars still. I don't get to play as much as I'd like to, but every once in a while I'll sit down and jam out for a little bit. Um, Not really my hobby anymore, but I definitely still have it if I want to. Just kind of play around a little bit. It's more of just see the guitar. You got a couple minutes, just go ahead and strum a little bit and have some fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Do
but
you ever go to open mics?
yeah. I have not. So the only ones I've got a comedian friend, um, and his name's Jacob Jonas. He's definitely one of my funnier friends, and he's actually got some internet presence too. But I've been to
Jacob
quite a
Jonas.
few of
I'll have to look him up.
his. Yeah, look him up for sure. It's Jacob Jones is his TikTok, I believe, and Instagram and everything. He's definitely got some. You've probably seen him honestly, but yeah, he's got some fun things. So every time he has a show out here, he travels to the United States doing like
Really? He does gigs?
yeah, oh yeah, all the time. That's what he does. He just got to kill Tony not that long ago too.
Get
So
out of here!
yeah,
Really?
yeah. He's pretty funny.
Wow, dude. So
He's very talented.
so ostensibly he's really making his way up.
It seems that he's got a pretty good following. Definitely seems like the career path for him. If just a couple more big things that he does, and he'll be up there for sure. Um, so I go to his shows every time he's out here, and get to see some local comedians and everything too. But nothing big besides that.
Yeah, but it's fun to. It's fun. I think you should. I mean, do you know songs in guitar? Like you could still play a couple of songs every now and then.
Oh, you're talking open mics on music.
I'm talking about any open mic. Like I'm talking about like a local like cafe or coffee shop or brewery where like anyone that wants to get up and just do whatever they want to do. Music or poetry or stand up. Get
Yeah,
up
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Those because like there's no expectations. Like everyone is just there for a good time, and it's fun to do. Like it's a great time.
I've never done that. It sounds like a fun time to just go explore some, because these are people's hobbies and passions too. So it'd be nice to just see some more of that for sure. I haven't been to one, honestly, I don't think ever, but I'll have to look into that. There's got to be a lot of that going on around here. You can only imagine.
I could, dude, especially if you go to Boulder because Boulder's a college town, right?
Yeah, Boulder. I mean, honestly, there's so many colleges here, but yeah, Boulder, Denver, Fort Collins. Um,
Fort Collins is big too. Right.
yeah. It's about 2 hours away though, from Fort
That's
Collins from
far.
my house, but it's still, I go there every once in a while, a couple times a year usually, and not so much anymore, just because I can't do the whole. Man, I can't do that anymore. But um,
You're
it's
too
always
old,
gotten a
dude.
little
You're too
crazy.
old. You're getting
I'm
old,
too
man.
old, man.
28, man.
Yeah, I can't be going to college towns anymore. It's getting to that point of creepy at this age.
Oh
So
man, I know. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. It's kind of a good, it's kind of a good thing, I guess, that like we set standards for like, who's that creepy dude? But
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine recently. Actually, we did a podcast when he mentioned this to me. He's like, "Do you remember when you were in high school and used to visit college, and guys or girls would come back like I had the best time. Like I hooked up with this college student." I'm like,
Oh
"Dude, you're
yeah.
16, man. Like that person could be 20. Like, that person could be 23. Like like what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like what's
man, that was
happening?
absolutely a
Like."
thing.
Yeah, my it's so funny. So my brother-in-law, who's a high school senior now, he's 17. He's in great shape. He's been really into working out the last like year or two, and he's a funny dude. He's very confident. He's very funny. He's a sweet guy, and um and so so this summer my in-laws spend the summers in New York, but he was here with his buddies. He started just a car detailing business just to make some extra cash over the summer. And so he was living like a high schooler's like dream, dude, because like he had this house on the canal, on the water. His backyard's on the water, and his family wasn't home. And so he was just, hanging out with his buddies and partying every night. And then, and then a couple times a week, you detail some cars, make a couple of cash, and buy some alcohol with it.
Yeah,
And
that's the life at that age.
dude, so he was telling me, he's like, so when my friends and I went to a water park, my boys and I pull up to the water park, right? Because I'm talking young language, and he's like, and there's this really cute lifeguard, and so he's like, and I forgot, and he goes, I forgot that lifeguards are my age, right? He's like, I forgot that most lifeguards are just like high school students. So he's like, I'm talking to this lifeguard, and she's really cute. And she goes, how old are you? And he's like, oh, I'm 20, right? Because he just wants to,
Right.
I guess, be older. I don't know, why ever he decides to say that. And and she's like, ew, dude, I'm 17. He's like, fuck, I'm 17. He's like, but I can't tell. He goes, but I can't tell her that now. I just lied to her. Like he's like, he goes, I just let that whole thing get away. And he was like, it's just one of those things that just, he goes,
Oh
I
man.
just feel like a knucklehead from that. He didn't say knucklehead because that's also a 50-year-old world, but word. But, um, yeah, I mean, so I think it's fine. I think that what I've noticed is that to have like to meet people and to have a really like to really expand like your circle group, like your social circle. One of the most fun things to do is to find very specific type of activities, like go to a cigar lounge or go to a craft beer, brewery, or go to, a very particular type of music, like a jam band, scene or whatever. And even if I go by myself, like the people that are all there are all like tend to be interested in the same things. If I like cigars, I'm going and talking to guys about cigars and scotch and Florida life and stuff like that. If I go to a brewery, we talk about craft beer, we talk about pot, we talk about, sports or whatever. And then you go to a jam band, and you talk about all this music that you guys know. And like you already have so much in common because you're at this very specific type of event for very specific interests, and so it kind of lends itself to being the type of people that you're interested in. So I have another friend that does like yoga and rock climbing, and like he met all his like close friends now from those type of places because they're all just interested in the same things that he's interested in. It's cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely a. I don't hate growing up at all. Honestly, I know a lot of people are scared to do so, but it's nice. I mean, it's nice to slow down a little bit. It's nice to not wake. I mean, hangovers are worse than they've ever been at this point.
Dude, your
So
whole body hurts, right?
it's like a multiple day, recovery. So I don't mind at all getting out of that scene and growing up, settling down a little bit. Definitely, I'm the kind of person for it, so I'm definitely enjoying it. But I know a lot of people are worried about it, and I don't get it. I'm so ready.
Dude, I
I'm ready
have
to go to bed early.
I have I'm for the first time since I graduated high school. I'm taking a month long break from alcohol, um, and
Okay.
because I mean I mean it's because I noticed that like drinking was a big part of my like life, like just like socially and culturally, and like my hobbies and interests, like the craft beer, and I love like tequila and stuff like that. And like I wasn't even drinking, I wasn't drinking so heavily. I would have a beer, while playing pool or while hanging out with my buddies a couple of times a week. And I was like, I wonder what how different it would be if I didn't if I didn't drink, for a little while, and like what things are like, dude. And it's so interesting because it's been 2 weeks now. So it's been since the end of October,
Oh,
and
nice.
and I guess like October like 20th or so. I'm going from October 20th to like Thanksgiving time, so end of November, and um, and it's weird because I don't miss alcohol. Like I don't miss drinking, but I'm
No,
but it almost it becomes such a habit in my life that it almost feels weird not having it. Like I
get
don't
that.
like it's weird to play pool and open a can of seltzer or a water bottle instead of a Bud Light, or an IPA or something like that. Like it's weird to hang out with my friends at poker night and to drink a water instead of a whiskey or something like that. But
It's
um,
habits for sure. Yeah.
but I figured that it's cool to take a break. I want to take a break next from smoking for a month. Um, I don't know when I'm going to do that. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit harder than alcohol. But um,
That'll
you
be
know,
that's easy for me, man. I just don't really smoke as much like I used to. I used to dab like a gram a day back in 10 years ago, and now I'm like one hit off of a joint or something. I can't I can't function.
yeah, dude, it makes you tired, right?
Yeah, I get lazy, I get tired, I can't. I get anxious. I can't do it
Oh,
anymore.
really? You get anxious from it?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I think it depends, but for sure sometimes. And if it's too much, but I yeah, that's easy for me.
So this year, Florida had legalizing marijuana on the ballot, right? To make it legal.
Yeah, they said
Um,
no, right?
well, it's funny. So it did not pass, and I was looking into it because I was like, that's so weird. Like, it's so weird that it didn't pass, especially in a place like Florida where it's really everyone just does whatever they want as long as they're not hurting anyone else. So I was looking
Right.
into it. They needed 60% of the population to say yes, and 55% said yes.
Oh
So
my
it
goodness, so
failed.
close.
So more than half the people wanted it, but I don't even know how they came up with the number 60%. More than half the people wanted it,
And they still
and
said
and yeah, and it was 55%. It did because it didn't reach that 60% mark. They just said, "Listen, it's not happening. Sorry," and they just move on. And they still have
crazy.
medical stuff all over the place, but it's so it's funny because it's such a racketeer. Like you go on Groupon and you can get like a medical card, and like at that point, is it even medical? Like, or is it just people just like forcing you to pay an extra entry fee to get into a dispensary? Like
It does almost seem like it's just strictly financial at this point.
Yeah, it feels silly. It feels silly, but I mean, I don't know. I'm very curious if in the next 4 years we're gonna have a federal legalization, or at least taking it off Schedule One. Um,
I would be surprised if not, just because of how accepted it is. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. The whole politics right now are insane.
I have a
So,
friend of mine. I have a friend of mine that was trying to convince me. Um, he lives in Seattle. Yeah, he was one of my roommates when I was living out there, and he was trying to convince me. He was telling me that there was research done that all the places that legalized marijuana became blue states, and he said that's the reason why places like where there's so much opposition to it. And I was like, I don't know if the correlation is causation. Like I don't know if like Colorado was a red state and then they just like, oh, you know what, pot's cool, and then all of a sudden it became like the blue state that it is. Like it doesn't make sense to me that would be the case. I was like, anything's possible, but it just felt a little weird.
I'd say yes and no. When it first did get legalized here, we were like the first place. We were the first place to do it, right?
Over
It actually
California,
was.
before California.
Yeah, Colorado was first. Um,
Oh,
I believe. I could be wrong. I'm 99% sure that's right. But yeah, we had tons and tons of people flowing in after that with businesses, and because a lot of it was business related, right? But
hmm,
definitely a lot of people coming here just to legally do as much smoking as they want. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's well, I guess I don't know. At this point, there's so many places it's legal. I don't know if it would make it as big of an impact, but um,
I don't think it
I definitely.
would, and also no one gives a shit anymore, dude. I've flown with flowers so many times, and
Oh
no
yeah.
one's looking for it. No one cares, like kind of just let people do whatever they want.
They care about the large quantities. That's it. Like
They
avoiding
do, but
taxes.
you know what? But also, it's all like if you're gonna say like kids are gonna be smoking weed anyway, wouldn't you rather it be regulated? Like, wouldn't you rather it come from a dispensary where you know what you're getting, as opposed to, just some dude, whatever
I
it
agree.
is.
I agree. The only problem with that, if you're using that as the only aspect, that can just go into so many things. Like, oh, if you're doing meth, would you rather be sure it's like the safest meth? You know,
Right,
like,
well, yeah, except what do
no,
you
I'm
do
kidding. There's
to
obviously
get meth? Yeah, of
different.
course, of course, of course. But it
But
definitely is something that deserves a conversation.
it definitely,
Um,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
but I'm
But
sure it will. We'll see in the next couple of years. Dude, I
we'll have to
appreciate you
see.
doing this, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely fun to hop on. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Dude, I'm so
Uh,
happy I finally got you, man. I'm glad we made this work. We'll do this again because there's always a lot more I love talking about, and we'll be in touch soon. All right.
absolutely, yeah, for me. Have a good one, man.
All
Good
right, brother.
speaking.
Thanks so much for doing this, man. It's been a blast.
Thanks for
I'll
having
talk to
me.
you
Have a
soon,
good one.
man. All right. Bye, everyone.